situation, totally broken. She prays one prayer over my life. She writes this prayer over my life. She seals it and sends it off to be closed until I open it. She didn't even have a copy of it. We still don't even have those clothes she sent to the Lutheran Social Services. Think about that. Not only does he make all things new, but not only am I not ashamed, now I'm a part of her destiny, and everything that I do, it's as if she did it. Now think about this. So I wake up at 2 in the morning to drive to another place last week because we try to do everything fast so we can be with our families and children. So a lot of times we're on the road. We'll just book to get to the fastest flight that we can. So we'll get to bed at 12:30, and we'll be going in a car at 2:30 in the morning trying to get to the airport so we can get either home or... So I open up my phone and I take down an email, and it's an email from my mom last week. And on Saturday, she went to go visit my biological grandmother on my father's side, Hilda, and she lives in Sleepy Eye. You know, like that movie, that show, you know. What's the show again? Yeah, Little House on the Prairie, you know, it's supposed to be. Anyway, and she lives in an old folks home in Sleepy Eye, and they went into this chapel in Sleepy Eye, and on the way there, she sees this big sign as she's going to Sleepy Eye, and it says, "Stop abortion." It's like this big thing. So she goes through, gets in that place, they walk into a chapel, and my 95-year-old, 90-pound grandma, Hildy, rests her head on my mother's shoulder. And they begin to talk, and they begin to show her pictures of me and pictures of her great-grandchildren. I found out I'm her only grandchild. And she'd been asking this her niece, I hope that I get to see him before I die. I just want to know that he's okay. She's looking at pictures of me last Saturday, and my mom says, "How could you not believe in God?" Do you want to receive Jesus as your Savior, Hildy? She says, "Yeah, I want to receive salvation right now." She begins to pray for her own salvation. Last Saturday, I can't wait to tell my father how loved he is. I can't wait to tell him how much a part of divine destiny he is. I can't wait to tell him that he's not an orphan, that he's a son. Carried between the earth and sky, sons of eternity and time, we were born. Do you remember what our fathers spoke? Second verse says, the silence broke down on our knees. There was power in their prayers. Remember, the silence broke with Zechariah. He believed, and it was written. Remember, it was written down with their, and they said, write down what you want to name the child. And he said, we're going to name the child John. And they said, there's nobody in your family named John. He said, we're going to name the child John. And God opened his lips because he believed. They say 400 years of silence was broken when Jesus heard the voice of the Father rip open the heavens and say, you're my beloved Son, and on you my favor rests. Do you remember what our fathers spoke? Silence broke down on our knees. There was power in their prayers. Remember what they said? We are the children of their dreams. Words of acceptance split the sky. Visions of heaven filled our eyes, and we were born. We were born of spirit. We were born of water. We were born of blood. This is the hard one, though. It's the born of blood. The born of spirit, born of water. That's like, woo, yes, I believe it, right? But born of blood. How are we born of blood? It is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in dying that we are born. You really believe that? It is in dying that we are born. That our lives are so filled with divine destiny and promise and true freedom when we walk according to the will of the Father, that we can see even our death, even the cross, even our betrayal is a cup to be received from our Father. This is so powerful. I said, God, you got to give me a revelation of your cross so I can understand it. And I was playing with my son Samuel on a beach in Florida, and on this beach there was this big, like a playground, but it was in the shape of a ship. And the ship had a mast, and the mast was in the shape of a cross. And I looked up at that cross, and Jesus said, that was the other place that I was carried between earth and sky. And he said, Jason, and then I was reminded of that 1 John, he who came by water and by blood. And I realized that the cross is in our lives. To carry the cross, it ain't easy. The cross is in our lives. That's how we get revelation. For instance, there are crosses that you carry that I don't carry, and I can't have the revelation that you have. People say, Jesus died on the cross so that we don't have to. Then why did he say we had to carry it every day? Because crosses are how we get revelation. And if we aren't willing to carry the cross, we literally, in the spirit, abort what he's birthing in our lives. He said, I want you to carry your cross like you carry a child, because I'm continually birthing things in you. You can stuff up revelation. People say, why isn't God speaking to me? He is. But you stuff it up by saying, I'm not willing to carry those crosses. I'm not willing to allow the tension of being suspended between earth and sky. A lot of times when God's giving you revelation, it's suspended between earth and sky. It's suspended between heaven and earth. It doesn't even necessarily make sense when you're first getting it. And so I looked at that. He said, see, the cross, Jason, it isn't a dying place. It's a birthing place. The cross isn't it's not a going place. It's a coming place. And so I wrote this verse that just says, do you remember how it made us feel to be traded for a foolish lie? I was the song that danced. You were the song that healed, but neither song could satisfy. Remember when he said that to John? Wisdom was fighting for her life. We were the children of our time. And they killed us, John. They killed us. But we were born. I'm speaking over you right now. There's a verse that happens when Jesus was born. It's out of Matthew chapter 2. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea during the time of King Herod, the wise men from the east came to worship him. And you can read this tonight because I don't want you all to fall asleep. When you read it tonight, I want you to look at this. I want you to look at divine destiny in this passage. I want you to look at how in running and being a refugee for a season from a mad king that wanted to kill him because he was so jealous